Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, well, I guess I'd say Senate, please come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Ocasio?
Excused?
Senator Baker?
Here.
Senator Chang?
Here.
Senator DeCoit?
Here.
Senator Dela Cruz? Senator Favela?
Excused?
Senator Gabbard? Senator Ihara?
Present.
Senator Inoue?
Present.
Senator Kanuha? Senator Keith Agaran? Senator Keoho Kalole? Senator Kidani?
Aloha.
Senator Kim? Senator Lee? Senator Misalucha?
Present.
Senator Moriwaki?
Present.
Senator Nishihara? Senator Rhodes? Senator Riviere? Senator San Buenaventura? Senator Shimabukuro? Senator Taniguchi?
Here.
Senator Wakai? Mr. President,
Present.
23 present, 2 excused.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Are there any introductions this morning? Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to, I'm told I can't actually find them in the audience, but I'm told Chief Justice Rechtenwald is here and Justice McKenna as well. In addition, Rod Miley, the Chief Administrator of the Court, and Brandon Kimura from the Judiciary are here as well. If you're here, please stand and be recognized. Mahalo.
They were all right above you in the back, so it's not surprising you did not see them. Any further introductions? Senator Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. President. This morning in our Senate gallery, all the way from Denver, Colorado, we're proud to have with us Martha Sines. Martha, could you stand up? Mr. President, Martha is the NCSL, the National Conference of State Legislators, a state liaison for Hawaii. She's an associate director for the Quad Caucus and Women's Legislative Network at the National Conference of State Legislatures. Please plan to stop by for lunch in conference room 325, members, to greet Martha at 12 noon today. Martha, welcome to our Capitol.
Any further introductions? If not, Madam Clerk.
Governor's message number 20 transmits a proposed conference draft 1 for a measure to fund the agreement reached for collective bargaining unit 7. Governor's message number 21 makes amendments to the governor's supplemental budget request for the Department of Agriculture. And governor's message numbers 1105 and 1106 inform the legislature that the governor signed bills into law as Acts 5 and 6.
File.
House Communication number 574 informs the Senate that the House has passed House Bill 1339 on final reading. House Communication number 575 informs the Senate that the House has agreed to the amendments made by the Senate in House Bill 2392 Senate Draft 1, and that said bill passed final reading in the House. And on pages 2 through 4, House Communication number 576 informs the Senate that the House has disagreed to the amendments proposed by the Senate to various House bills.
File.
On pages 4 through 19, House Communication numbers 577 to 714 return Senate bills that passed third reading in the House in an amended form for agree, disagree.
Senator DeCoit.
I move that the Senate disagree to the amendments proposed by the House to the Senate bills referenced in House Communications numbers 577 to 714, and I further move that the Senate disagree to the amendments proposed by the House to any additional Senate bills returned by the House in an amended form later today.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Conferees will be named at a later date.
On pages 19 to 24, Standing Committee Report numbers 3976 to 3988 for one-day notice.
So ordered.
Beginning on page 25, Advise and Consent.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll be taking advise and consent on consent.
Standing Committee Report number 3969 on Judiciary Communication number 23, Shelley K. Park-Ho'apili, Judicial Appointee to the District Court of the First Circuit for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Judiciary Communication number 23.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Shirley Park Ho'opili has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 2003. Upon graduation, she clerked for Alston Hunt, Floyd and Ng, the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, and then for the Honorable Paula Nakayama of the Hawaii Supreme Court. She subsequently worked for 7 years as an associate attorney at Alston, where her practice included civil litigation and complex legal issues. Since 2012, Ms. Park Ho'opili has served as a staff attorney to the Hawaii Supreme Court and recently was made the court staff attorney. In these roles, she provided legal advice to the justices and the court, reviewed and analyzed original proceedings, jurisdictional issues, confidential matters, and procedural processes, drafted legal memoranda and per curiam opinions, drafted statewide and circuit-specific orders in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and supervised other staff attorneys. Ms. Park Ho'opili received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from the University of Hawaii at Manoa and her Juris Doctor degree from the William S. Richardson School of Law. She has served on the Board of Bar Examiners of the Hawaii Supreme Court since 2013 and has been president of both the Hawaii Women's Legal Foundation and Hawaii Women's Lawyers. After having reviewed the testimony, all of which was in support of her confirmation, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Shelley Park Ho'opili is well qualified to serve as District Court Judge of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. Shelley K. Park Ho'opili has been confirmed as judge for the District Court of the First Circuit. Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm pleased to introduce our newest District Court Judge for Oahu, Judge Shelley Park Ho'opili. Joining Judge Park Ho'opili in the gallery are her husband, James Ho'opili, and members of the Judge's Judiciary Ohana. Please stand and be recognized. Mahalo.
Thank you, Senator Rhodes. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report number 3970 on Judiciary Communication number 24, Natasha R. Shaw, Judicial Appointee to the District Family Court of the First Circuit for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Judiciary Communication number 24.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Natasha Shaw began her legal career in Hawaii in 2009 as a law clerk for the Honorable Colleen Harai in the Circuit Court of the First Circuit. Since 2010, Judge Shaw has been licensed to practice law in the state, and she worked for several law firms before starting her own solo practice in 2014. Her practice focused on the areas of probate and trust litigation, conservatorships and guardianships, litigation, forensic audits of fiduciary accounts, estate administration, and drafting estate planning documents. Since 2019, Judge Shaw has served as a per diem judge for the District Family Court of the First Circuit. She has also been a Kakua Kanawai for 2 probate court judges, evaluating the need for a conservatorship or guardian to be appointed to protect individuals. Judge Shaw received her Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration and Accounting from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. She later received her Master of Business Administration from Stetson University School of Business concurrently with her Juris Doctor degree from the Stetson University College of Law. After having reviewed the testimony, which was overwhelmingly in support of her confirmation, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Natasha R. Shaw is well qualified to serve as a District Family Court Judge of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. Natasha R. Shaw has been confirmed as judge for the District Family Court of the First Circuit. Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my great privilege to introduce our newest District Family Court Judge for Oahu, Judge Natasha Shaw. Joining Judge Shaw in the gallery are her mom and other family members. If you'd stand and be recognized as well, please. Congratulations.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, before going to the next item, I believe in talking to Chief Justice Rechtenwald with these two confirmation votes this morning, we now have half of the judiciary or the judges in the district court are women and half of the judges sitting are men. So to Chief Justice and your team, thank you for achieving the gender equity we were seeking. And with very well qualified individuals. Thank you, CJ. Madam Clerk?
On pages 25 to 27, Standing Committee Report numbers 3971 to 3975 on Governor's messages for adoption.
Is there any discussion?
Mr.
Oh,
President.
no, Madam Clerk, I am lost. I'm looking at third reading. Oh, is there any discussion? Sorry, I'm at the right place. If not, do we have unanimous, Senator Inoue?
Yes, Mr. President. Mahalo. We are on Ahomoko, aren't we?
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
I
President.
found
All
my
right.
place again. I went off the script and messed everything up. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of GMs 717, 718, 719, 720, 721, 722, 723, 724, and these are all members at your committee has advised and consent. All the nominees were properly vetted, Mr. President and members, by each island's council under the umbrella of the Ahomoko system. We're very pleased that they have contributed to being served on this board as we have had a vacancy for the last 2 years. And Mr. President, I have remarks I'd like to enter into the journal, but I do want to add the names to the GMs, please, if you allow me to. Moku o Keawe from the island of Hawaii, Charles Young. Moku o Pi'ilani from Maui, Robert Lu'uwai. Moku o Kana'oloa, Kaho'olawe, Manuel Kuli Lo'io. Molokai Pule o Molokai, Pi'ilani Kawa'aloa. We do have John Lu'uwai as well, and Lena Olivetter. We do have Walter Rollins as well, Winifred Vasquez. We have Francis Anti Rocky, Louis Kaluhiva, Shade Kane, Llewellyn Kaohe Lauli'i. We do have Keith Robinson, Connie Turalde, Lena Ala Robinson, and all of these members were vetted by the committee. And Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to advise and consent to these members.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Decoit?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Standing Committee Report number 3971, GM 717 to GM 724, the nominees to the Ahomoko Advisory Committee.
Please proceed.
In recent years, nominations to the Ahomoko Advisory Committee have been a very controversial issue, especially in our native Hawaiian communities. The main point of controversy stems from the nomination process itself. Some argue that the process used to nominate committee members is illegitimate and not proper. Mr. President, in preparation for my vote today, I did my due diligence in consulting with the Attorney General's office on whether the identification of the nominees for the Ahomoko Advisory Committee was done through a proper process. In a memo dated April 13th, 2022, it is the opinion of the Attorney General that the correct process was followed. In addition, Mr. President, I would like to insert the memo received from the Attorney General into the journal.
So ordered, and Madam Clerk, I forgot to so ordered that we will insert the written remarks from Senator Inoue. Further discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. There are a couple of members of the Ahomoko here, and I'd like to certainly introduce to all of you, and he came all the way from Kaho'olawe, Manuel Kuli Lo'io, as well as, and you can stand, Emmanuel, please. And we do have Francis Auntie Rocky Kaluhiva of Oahu here as well. We do have Elena Bryan from the Kaneohe. Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't reached that GM yet. We do have guests with regards to the Ahumoku, and we're happy to introduce Kavaika Puokalani Hewitt and Leimana Damate of the Ahumoku Advisory Council.
These
Please
are
rise
all
and
of them,
sit.
so if you have someone who's here, they should be introduced, although it would have been good if we took the vote first and they were confirmed.
So we'd like to welcome them to the Capitol. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. The nominees for said governor's messages have been confirmed. Congratulations to those of you who took the time to join us. Madam Clerk,
On page 27, third reading.
if there are no objections from the members, we will be taking third reading on consent.
Third reading of House Bill 1539, Senate Draft 2, relating to the safety of judiciary personnel.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1539 SD2 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1600, Senate Draft 2, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? Senator Dela Cruz,
Thank you, Mr. President, in support.
please proceed.
Mr. President, I'd like to begin by thanking you and the Senate leadership, the Senate Subject Matter Committee chairs for their leadership, and for assisting the Ways and Means Committee in addressing the restoration and fiscal sustainability efforts reflected in the state's supplemental budget. The Senate continues to make prudent and strategic decisions to ensure the economic vitality of our state. The dedication and diligent efforts to identify opportunities for strategic additions, restorations, consolidations, and reductions across the 20 state departments were instrumental. Your recommendations to the Ways and Means Committee have made it possible for the Senate to pass a sustainable supplemental budget that creates a more efficient state government, addresses the needs of our most vulnerable residents, and stabilizes essential services and programs while incorporating strategies to improve the state's credit rating and borrowing power. With a brighter economic forecast, we were able to appropriate funds for many one-time non-recurring large expenditures, such as repairs and maintenance, construction projects, land acquisitions, and paying down the state's unfunded liabilities, including debt service, the employees' retirement system, and replenishing the rainy day fund. We invested strategically in initiatives that have been long-standing issues for the state, such as Hawaii's housing shortage, the need for more comprehensive health and well-being services for our keiki, kupuna, and those with disabilities, supporting small businesses and the diversification of our economy, and creating pathways for a skilled workforce and the development of higher wage jobs. All these efforts are reflected in the budget appropriations across the state departments and are intended to make a way for Hawaii's families to remain here in the islands for generations to come. Numerous Senate bill priorities with appropriations were migrated into the state budget to solidify their implementation. Funding for construction of thousands of Hawaiian homesteads, Senate Bill 3359. Affordable and public housing projects, SB 2372 and SB 2588. And homeless support and triage services, House Bill 2512, were included. A greater focus on developing Hawaii's workforce and training needs were accomplished through the appropriations that will increase the Department of Labor, the University of Hawaii, and the Departments of Education's ability to collaborate, coordinate, and amplify their education and training efforts. Senate Bill 3374 and House Bill 1561. Their collective energies will provide Hawaii's K-12, post-high, and adult learners with the opportunities to earn licensures, credentials, and certifications that will lead to employment in hard-to-fill jobs in office administration, agriculture, teaching, Human Services, and Healthcare. House Bill 2220. Engineering and Information Technology, right here in Hawaii, and specifically within state government. Allocations were provided by the Department of Accounting and General Services for centralization and digitization of 11 state department records and documents, SB 3282, which will reduce the cost for document storage and ensure that those teleworking will have secure online access to essential documentation. The Office of the Attorney General received funding for its critical law enforcement efforts to combat sex and human trafficking in SB 2930, fraud, white-collar crime, and public corruption, SB 2930. Salary differentials or hard-to-fill positions were addressed this session for teachers, social workers, archaeologists, and deputy attorney generals, SB 2819 and SB 20. There are so many more noteworthy priorities that were addressed in this year's supplemental budget, such as HCDC's grants to include funding for accelerated programs, manufacturing and small business loans, modernizing the state's aging digital infrastructure, and Department of Health laboratories found in HB 2515. Providing funds for required federal match for broadband infrastructure, the coordination of trauma-informed care for statewide programs and services, reducing the pipeline to prison and recidivism, funding the menstrual equity found in SB 2821, farmer supports to control access deer and feral animals, increase security for state parks, harbors and community colleges, study and abatement for coastal erosion found in HB 2229, funds for post-high scholarships and student mental health services. All that in mind, I'd like to thank the subject matter chairs for the countless hours spent meeting with departments and the Ways and Means team, as well as scrutinizing and asking critical questions on hundreds of budget requests. Your good work is reflected in the Senate draft. The Senate's approach to balancing the budget included considering the Council of Revenue's forecasts, allocating federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, restoring critical defunded positions and programs and services that were reduced during the pandemic, funding non-recurring one-time costs, vacancy reductions to limit the growth of government, meeting the maintenance of effort federal requirements, and finally, covering the costs for the Senate priorities. Numerous federal requirements, restrictions, and limitations were placed on how ARPA funds could be spent by the state. The maintenance of effort requirement presented the greatest challenge for drafting a balanced budget. Your committee worked diligently, especially with the education chairs and the higher education chairs, to meet the proportional maintenance of effort funding requirements established under ARPA. Many hours were spent to ascertain accurate appropriations to the University of Hawaii, the Department of Education, and all other state departments. The federal maintenance of effort requirements mandate that the state provide proportional funding in fiscal years 2022 and 2023 to elementary and secondary education and higher education as compared to the overall state budget averaged over fiscal years 2017, 18, and 19. According to BNF, these average proportion allocations are 6.49% and 32.04% for higher education and lower education. Higher education encompasses the University of Hawaii, while lower education comprises DOE minus the libraries and early learning. We present a budget that is sustainable, ensures economic stabilization, and meets the federal requirements for the maintenance of effort. In conclusion, I'd like to thank the members for their hard work, and I'd like to thank and acknowledge everyone's efforts, time, and dedication, as well as the efforts and hard work of the Vice Chair and his team for putting together the CIP budget. Lastly, I'd like to thank the Ways and Means budget staff for their hard work and extended hours in helping shape the Senate draft. So they're here today, Committee Clerk Dane Wicker, Budget Chief Stacy Ferreira, Budget Analyst Colin, Parker, Keahi, Ann, Kathy, and Ford, Legislative Assistants David and Reggie, and our Office Manager Dot. Also who helped the Ways and Means Committee is our Budget section, Bills section, Bills Chief Duncan Osorio, and his team Chris, Sam, Carlos, Sarah, Mary, and Vanessa. So if you can please rise and be recognized. Mr. President, I'd also like to add written remarks in support of House Bill 1600.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Keith Agaran.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to add my thanks to the members as well as to yourself, especially to the committee clerks and the staff of the Senate who helped provide the information that we needed to fashion the CIP budget. Although my staff decided they did not want to come down, I wanted to recognize them, Robert Nishimoto and Danielle Evangelista, who did a lot of the yeoman's work on the CIP budget as we go into conference. And I urge all my colleagues to please vote in favor of the Senate Draft 2.
For Robert and Danielle. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1600 SD2 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1570, Senate Draft 2, relating to the youth vaping epidemic.
Is there any discussion? Senator Baker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in strong support of House Bill 1570, Senate Draft 2, relating to the youth vaping epidemic.
Please proceed.
Colleagues, this measure is a response to the increase in youth vaping that we're seeing here in Hawaii. Electronic smoking devices that feature tobacco products, including menthol, are a gateway to cigarettes and other substances. The sale of candy-like flavored tobacco products that are mislabeled as nicotine-free entice young people to start using these harmful products, which can lead to addiction and cause damage to their developing brain. Flavored tobacco products also increase an individual's risk for dual use of vaping and combustible cigarettes. Many electronic smoking devices contain the addictive chemical nicotine, and this is particularly troubling because now there's a synthetic nicotine that is not tobacco derived, but is just as addictive and harmful. Youth electronic smoking device users are four times more likely to become regular cigarette users. In 2020, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced that nearly half of Hawaii's high school students and 3 in 10 of middle school students in Hawaii have tried e-cigarettes. This measure will prohibit the sale or distribution in Hawaii of all e-liquid flavored tobacco products, including products with menthol, and prohibit the mislabeling of products as nicotine-free. This measure will help deter the e-cigarette use among our youth, and it is especially important that this measure move forward because there are other folks out there who are preying on our young people to try to get them addicted to a life of e-cigarette use and health damage. Please join me in supporting this important health and consumer protection measure. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Oh, reservations for Senator San Buenaventura. No vote for Senator Riviere. Any other no votes?
22 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1570 SD2 passes third reading.
Third reading of House Bill 1775, Senate Draft 3, relating to civil rights.
Is there any discussion? Not, do we have unanimous consent?
23 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1775, SD3, passes third reading.
Referrals and re-referrals.
Referrals and re-referrals are made in accordance with the supplemental orders of the day, which may be filed later today.
I'm
Senator
sorry,
Revere?
brief recess? Pardon me, brief recess, please.
Will the Senate please come back into order? Madam Clerk,
We have no further business, Mr. President.
are there any announcements today? If not, the chair has one. For the duration of the 2022 conference period, conferees will be named and revised in accordance with the action sheet reports on the Capitol website, and said actions will be reflected in the journal. Senator Kidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and colleagues, I am so happy to see many of you have found something purple in your wardrobes and have joined the community to celebrate Purple Up Day. Each year, we designate the month of April as the month of the military child. And on one day in April, we wear purple to highlight our commitment to serving military families and their keiki in our schools. Purple is a mix of the red, blue, and green colors that branches of our military highlight in their uniforms and insignia. The official programs in our public school systems have been a true success story. Programs and policies receive input from the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission and the Joint Venture Education Forum. That's a mouthful for the working committees of officers and servicemen and women who dedicate much of their time and talent in service to our schools and to our students. Student transition centers at individual schools help to assure that military-dependent students and their families are at home, away from home. Our school communities benefit from the experience and perspectives military students bring to their campuses. By extending our spirit of aloha to everyone who might otherwise be considered an out-of-town student, we all grow and learn. If you do not already know, there are 56 public schools on Oahu that are on the DOE's list of military-impacted schools. These are schools that have significant numbers of military-dependent students on their campuses. I have 8 public schools in my own Senate District 18, and all 8 are on that list. If you're wondering whether a school in your district is on the list, check it out on the DOE's website. They range all the way from Eva Elementary in Senator Favela's district to Aikahi Elementary in Senator Keohokalolo's district on the windward side. A couple of weeks ago, during Education Week, we extended Senate congratulations to one of these schools in Senator De La Cruz's district. Major Sheldon Wheeler Middle School at Wheeler Army Airfield serves a student population with about 97% military-dependent enrollment. Wheeler Elementary is a true success story, designated as one of 3 Hawaii Blue Ribbon schools this year, a perfect example of how we all thrive when we focus and work together. Mr. President, as your chair for education, I appreciate the opportunity to recognize the month of the military child, and mahalo colleagues for joining to observe Purple Up Day 2022. Aloha.
Thank you, Senator Kidani. Any other announcements? If not, Senator Decoy.
I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. on Monday, April 18th.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate will stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. Monday.